Pastor Kevin of Antioch United Methodist Church coming at you on Friday, September 15th. Good to have you here. This is my pre-recorded version of my message at my church on Sunday, September 17th. If you're ever anywhere near Springfield, Missouri, please join us in person at 8:30 or 11 a.m. at Antioch United Methodist Church at 3614 North State Highway H in Springfield. I promise you, you will be warmly welcomed. You will be inspired by the piano music at 8:30 and the piano and drums and bass guitar and praise team and choir at 11 o'clock service. This message is titled, "It's All Uphill from Here." Now, what does that mean? Well, I just had a birthday this past Tuesday on the 12th. And every year, somebody says to me, "Happy birthday, but it's all downhill from here." Well, I get what they mean, but that's awfully pessimistic, don't you think? It's all downhill from here. It's all going to fall apart from here. I'm going to change that phrase. I'm saying it's all uphill from here. Rising up with new blessings. Rising up with wonderful chapters in my future and in your future. Rising up with new people. Rising up in our church with new choir members, new ministries. It's not all downhill for you when you have your birthday. It's all uphill. Things going well for you. You're happier, more at peace, letting go of things more often, not holding on to things so much, being more relaxed, having serenity, tranquility in your life, in your heart, having wonderful new chapters in your life, perhaps new friendships or reestablishing old friendships. When my children were first born, I often heard, "Oh, they're so cute. Enjoy them now, but just wait for the terrible twos and those terrible threes and those fearsome fours." Well, my wife and I were nice to those people, but we did not accept that. We said that we're going to have terrific twos and thankful threes and fabulous fours. And we did. The Bible says death and life are in the power of what? Your tongue, your words. So we declared and we received terrific twos, thankful threes, and fabulous fours. When you're sitting in the doctor's office, you're upset, you're nervous, you're not looking forward to it, you can say, "Yeah, I don't like this, I'm nervous, but after this, it's all uphill from here." Uphill. When you're sitting in the car repair mechanic shop, waiting room, looking at your phone, looking at your watch, you can say, "Yeah, my car needs work. I'm not sure how much this will cost. This stinks, but after this, it's all uphill from here." Of course, some problems are more serious. Julie and Andy Whitney and their 8-year-old son, Landon, were heading home from church when an ambulance on its way back to the station slammed into their car, obviously unintentionally, at an intersection. The father died instantly. The mother, Julie, was seriously injured but was stabilized at the scene. By the time they pulled 8-year-old Landon out of the wreckage, he wasn't breathing. True story. In fact, he died 3 times as medical staff fought to stabilize him. Once they succeeded in stabilizing him, doctors still didn't have much hope. The mother, Julie, was told if he lived, he would have severe brain damage. She remembers sitting at her husband's funeral with her son in the hospital fighting for his life. In that moment, she felt completely abandoned by God. But after running through all the the feelings of why us, why me, why my family, she began to pray. Have you ever felt like her? Have you ever felt completely abandoned by God, or at least somewhat abandoned by God? Have you ever ran through your mind, why us? Why me? Why my family? Well, it's not just you. Julie did. In fact, in the Bible, King David did, and Jesus did. They both said, my God, why? 8-year-old Landon was hooked up to all kinds of machines, and there were no signs of life. They saw nothing happening for a while. She kept praying that he would open his eyes. Sometimes faith is simply praying when there's no evidence of anything good. Just praying when there's no evidence of God's power. It took a few weeks, but Landon finally did open his eyes. Again, the boy died 3 times and suffered major head trauma, and yet he had no brain damage. The Bible speaks of signs and wonders and miracles. Signs are evidences of God being real, of your life unfolding in a divine way. For example, when you have coincidences that are too amazing to just be coincidence. You might call them God incidents. Spontaneous moments of connecting with somebody. You meet somebody and have a connection. Or you think about somebody and they just happen to call you. Those moments, those signs of something divine going on in your life. Wonders. These are things that God just does in the world, in the universe, that leaves the rest of us in awe and wonder. For example, the galaxies, the stars in the sky, looking up and going, wow, being in awe of stars and galaxies and the whole universe, looking at nature, the turning of the leaves in autumn and fall, the Grand Canyon. These are wonders. They're not miracles that convince atheists to become believers, but they leave us in awe and wonder. Then there are miracles, signs, wonders, and miracles, divine interventions of God when the impossible becomes possible. Landon not having brain damage, you can call that a miracle. As excited as his mother was to see her son awake, she mustered up all the courage to deliver the terrible news of his father's death. She said, I asked Landon, do you know where your dad is? His response shocked her. He told her, yes, I know where he's at. I saw him in heaven. Wow. Signs, wonders, miracles. Landon, 8 years old, went on to tell his mom, Julie, all about the other people that he saw in heaven, all of which were folks who had already passed away. But the kicker came when he shared how he had met his 2 siblings. His 2 siblings whom he had never known on earth. He looked over at his mother and said, oh, Mom, I saw your other 2 children. And Julie recalled, I had 2 miscarriages before Landon was born, and we never told him. He never knew. Makes sense. Why would you tell a child who was 6 or 7 about miscarriages? But he found out. He met his siblings in heaven who had been miscarried many years earlier, that his mother never told him about, and his father never told him about. Landon is grown now after having extensive surgeries. He has metal plates in his head and he can't see out of his left eye. but he pretty much has a normal life. Now, obviously, not every car crash ends up with this kind of miraculous testimony, but this boy's story is one of many testimonies that remind us that God is real, that signs and wonders and miracles still happen, and that eternity is real. Heaven. Landon said each time he died, all 3 times, he had a different experience in heaven. In his final visit, he got to meet Jesus. He said, Jesus came to me and told me that I have to go back to earth and be a good Christian and tell others about him. So he and his mom are using this tragedy to bring others closer to God. I want to share a few takeaways from all this. Number 1, it's important to remember whether you have been a Christian for many, many years, or just a Christian for a few years, or perhaps you're not a Christian, not a believer. Jesus never said that if you become a Christian, you will be protected from danger or pain. He said, in this world, you will have trouble. In Matthew chapter 7, he gave us the famous parable of the wise and foolish builders. Matthew 7, verses 24 through 27 in the Voice translation. Those people who are listening to me, those people who hear what I say and live according to my teachings, you are like a wise man who built his house on a rock, on a firm foundation. When storms hit and rain pounded down and waters rose, levees broke, and winds beat all the walls of that house. But that house did not fall because it was built upon the rock. Those of you who are listening and do not hear, you are like a fool who builds a house on sand. When a storm comes to his house, what will happen? The rain will fall, the waters will rise, the winds will blow, and his house will collapse with a great crash. And many people are experiencing a great crash right now in their lives because they enjoyed popular culture and entertainment and Avengers movies and video games and their cell phones, but didn't put the teachings of Jesus into practice in their own lives. And the storms of life came. Economic downturn, the pandemic, inflation going up, supply chain problems, right now hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes all around the world, and people's lives are crashing down. Notice whether it was the wise builder or the foolish builder in that parable. They both had the same rain, they both had the same winds, they both had the same floodwaters. We all have problems. Good and bad people. The righteous and the unrighteous have blessings. The godly and the ungodly suffer the storms of life. Second takeaway, Jesus never said that angels will guard or protect us from physical or emotional harm. I know there's the phrase guardian angel. I would love for a guardian angel to guard and protect everyone's life so that there are no accidents, no injuries, no one dying in car wrecks or earthquakes. But harm does come to people. Let's get real and be honest. In the Garden of Gethsemane, it says that an angel came to help and support Jesus, but not to guard or protect him from emotional or physical harm. Third takeaway, these near-death experiences, like Landon's story, are referred to in the Bible. Like 2 Corinthians 12, verse 2, the Apostle Paul said, I know a man in Christ who was taken up to the third heaven 14 years ago. So we are guaranteed heaven as believers we're not guaranteed a problem-free life. Your life will be better and will survive and thrive as you put the teachings of Christ into practice in your own life. Your life will be better, but you and I are not saved by the emotional pain and physical pain that comes with life. Some things are just life. The Apostle Paul said in 2 Corinthians 4, verses 8 through 11 in the NIV, we are hard pressed on how many sides? Every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, yes, but not abandoned by God. Struck down, but not destroyed. Faith is a muscle that needs to be exercised, and life gives us many opportunities to exercise faith, doesn't it? Psalm 34, verse 19, it says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Many, not a few. There's no false advertising right there. King David was direct, straight, realistic. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. But the good news is the Lord delivers them out of how many? Out of them all. Out of them all. So, God delivered Julie and her son. Her husband died, the boy's father. But Landon said, he's in heaven. That's our ultimate gift. That's our ultimate goal. That young man, Landon, he also said, I just want people to realize that Jesus is real. There is a heaven. There are angels. And to follow his word and the Bible, and life does get better at the end. Your life gets better at the end. Your life will get better. So begin to say, it's all uphill from here. It's all uphill. This chapter of your life and the next chapter of your life can be wonderful as you talk positive and focus on the positives in your life. Proverbs 24, verse 16 in the Passion Translation. For the lovers of God may suffer adversity and stumble 7 times, but they will continue to rise over and over again. But the unrighteous are brought down by just one calamity, one disaster, and will never be able to rise again. That right there basically summarizes almost the entire Bible. The unrighteous, the wicked, those who reject God, they go down and stay down, all the way down. We go down. We go down again and again. We stumble, we fall. But by the grace of God, we get back up and we survive through problems, and we thrive because we're God's people and we hold on to him. So no more gloom and doom talk. Oh, here we go again. It's going to be a bad day. You stub your toe in the morning, you squirt toothpaste out and it goes on the carpet. Something else goes wrong. You spill the coffee and say, oh, well, you see, here we go. It's all downhill from here. It's going to be a bad day. I can see where this is going. No, delete all that talk out of your vocabulary. Begin to say, it's all uphill from here. And every near-death story reminds us that we are going all the way up. Heaven is for winners, and hell is for losers. The best is truly yet to come. That's not a cliche for you and I, because heaven is our destination. So, no matter how bad your day is, no matter how bad your week is, heck, no matter how bad your year is, close your eyes, open your hands, smile, and say, it was bad, but it's all uphill from here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give a like on this video. Feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. We are at 20 minutes and 10 seconds. Thanks again for watching. God bless.